exhausting answering all those questions, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the Mario Brothers have been around in a bunch of games in recent years, but we haven't seen much of their pal Yoshi. The good news is, Yoshi is back in a brand new adventure called Yoshi's New Island.
Yoshi's New Island is actually a sequel to a game that came out in the 90s called Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. So this is kind of like a Mario sequel, but at the same time, not really. It had its own adorable painted art style, plus Yoshi had a bag of new tricks.
Affirmative. Much like in the original game, Yoshi must once again protect baby Mario from the evil magician Kamek. Yoshi can carry Mario on his back, but if he gets hurt, Mario will float off, starting a countdown to catch him before Kamek's minions do. Yoshi's far from harmless though. He's got a long tongue that he can snap up enemies with. Then he can either spit them out or turn them into an egg to throw at other enemies.
I really like Yoshi as a character, but he takes a while to get your head around because his moves are pretty unconventional. It can be quite tricky lining up the right angle and timing your egg tosses. But soon the game shows you how to hold the L button to lock your shooting angle. Once you've got this down, you can hit targets easily while you're jumping around.
I'd agree that Yoshi has his own style for sure, but there are still quite a few moves in there that are just textbook Mario. Yoshi is just as obsessed with collecting coins, and he can stomp on most enemies as well. Plus, he also travels through pipes to find plenty of hidden areas, and I loved the animation when he grabs onto the bottom of pipes to climb in.
Yoshi's eggs may be his main weapon, but he can use them for a lot more than hitting enemies. He can bounce them off surfaces to nab hard-to-reach items. Plus, his eggs are affected by what he eats. Swallowing a giant enemy lets Yoshi lay a huge wrecking ball egg to demolish obstacles.
Yeah, those metal eggs were cool, but I have to say, even though I was having a pretty good time bouncing around as Yoshi in the early levels, after a while, I started to get a bit bored. Normally you can expect games to get harder and harder, but this one just kind of coasted along. I never really felt challenged.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, most levels hardly had any enemies in them, but I think the main problem is that you're just not punished enough when you get hit. In Mario games, you can only survive being hit a couple of times before you need to restart the section. But here all that happens is Mario gets knocked off your back, and the amount of time you have to get him back is pretty generous. I mean, they may as well have made Yoshi invincible.
Yeah, totally. There was only one time in the whole game where I didn't make it back to Mario in time. And don't get me started on the bosses.
Alarm! Alarm! Noob detected! Noob detected!
Oh no! Where?
It's the bosses in Yoshi. They are the poorest excuses for bosses my circuits have encountered in a long time. Their attack patterns are pathetically predictable and easy to exploit. If I could laser them without damaging my 3DS, believe me, I would have.
Nice one, Darren.
Yeah, I don't think Yoshi was the only dinosaur in the room in those boss fights, right guys? Because dinosaurs are dated, and so I'm saying that the boss fights are like they're dated as well.
They're really old.
Dinosaur.
Yeah, okay.
And Yoshi's also a dinosaur.
Get it? Yeah, that's
All right, well, I think the other thing that really spoiled Yoshi for me is that there's just no real variety. Sure, there are token bonus sections where Yoshi transforms into vehicles, but these are always brief and spoiled by clunky controls. And I don't think the different egg types were taken advantage of in any interesting ways.
I was disappointed too, especially as the last Mario and Donkey Kong games were so interesting and they really stepped things up, and this was just way too easy and felt like a step backwards. I'm giving it 5.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
It was 6 from me.